Yes, I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for today.
Take this music
And use it, let it
take you away.
and be hopeful.
Hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, cause we hopeful.
I wish that you could show some love instead of hating so much when you see some other people coming up. I wish I could teach the world to sing, write some music and have them tripping off the joy I bring. Shit. I wish that we can hold hands, listen instead of dissing lessons from a grown man. And I wish the families that lack but got love, get some stacks, brand new shack in a lack that's on dubs. And I wish we could keep achieving wonders, see the vision of the world through the eyes of...
This is the Bobcat Broadcast, and I'm Charlie Hanna. And today, Anderson will be interviewing Kaylee Kirkpatrick on her FCCLA project over human trafficking.
So what exactly is human trafficking?
So human trafficking is a very broad term. There's a lot of different types of human trafficking, such as sex trafficking or labor trafficking. And a lot of professionals that I've spoken to about this topic have actually related human trafficking to modern day slavery. And I feel like when I put it in that perspective, a lot of people really realize how bad human trafficking can really be. But for just like a very like broad like term and a very like simple way to put it, it's basically just being forced against your own will to do something.
What are some common misconceptions of human trafficking?
So a lot of people are really uneducated about human trafficking, and therefore there is a lot of misconceptions. For one, a lot of people think it's just girls who go through human trafficking, which when it comes to sex trafficking, usually like the main target is females, but boys have also been sex trafficked before, and it's very important to acknowledge that no matter your gender, your race, or your sexuality, that you can get trafficked. And a lot of people also think that like it would just never happen to them and they would never be put in that position, but it happens in our community and communities around us as well, and it's very important to stay educated and aware.
So who are targets of being trafficked?
So like I said earlier, no one really is necessarily like not going to be trafficked. There's always a chance that you could be trafficked, but when it comes to sex trafficking, usually girls from the ages of 12 to 14 years old are like their main targets, and also traffickers commonly look for people who are either like going through something and are really vulnerable. Like if I were to go on your social media and see that your parents were going through a divorce because you posted about that publicly, traffickers can use that against you and use that as like a form of blackmail against you. And they just look for people who are very vulnerable, and even like poverty, who people like that don't have a lot of money, they will offer you money in turn for you to do things for them. So it's just very like important to like be aware of like who these targets are and like how to be aware of it.
So how do most people fall into being trafficked?
So most people fall into being trafficked, especially with like teenagers, through social media. It's really important to be safe on social media, and I know like a lot of people have like their school and their Instagram bio and stuff like that, but having that online just gives traffickers like exactly where you go to school, and that also gives them almost around where you live because they know you have to live in that specific school district. And also a lot of people do get catfished online where they think they're talking to someone but they're not talking to who they think they're talking to, and it's just really important to be safe online and to understand that who you're talking to might not be who you're actually speaking with.
How do traffickers manipulate the victims, and why might victims find it hard to escape?
Yeah, so again, on social media is a really big thing for teenagers. For example, someone, when it comes to sex trafficking specifically, someone might follow you on Instagram or add you on Snapchat, and they might ask you for an explicit photo for something in return, and let's say that young person were to send them that explicit photo, then they could use that against them. And that's why it's really hard for victims to seek help, is because they're scared of judgment. So when we talk about stuff like this, it's really important for us to create a safe and non-judgmental space that allows victims to come forward and allows survivors to come forward and talk about it. And through that, we can also educate more people about it that don't know anything about it.
So what are some programs that can help victims?
A really big reason of why I chose this for my FCCLA project was I feel like there's not enough programs or services to help people, especially in our community, because our community is still small and it's still developing. But there is victimservices.org, which is a Kansas State website that allows counseling, and also gets people who are survivors of human trafficking the opportunity to get interviews for new jobs and stuff, which I think is super cool. But I do think we definitely need more programs, and there is also a national hotline that can easily be found just by like a quick Google search as well.
Thank you, Kaylee, for the informative interview. I've learned so much.
Yes, I'm so happy that I could help everyone learn, and thank you for everyone watching. Again, if you are a victim of human trafficking, or if you know anyone who's going through it, please reach out to someone. You're not alone, and there is no judgment.